Hey guys, we are back again with Kickin Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio, and our sponsor for the second half is Venti's Restaurant, and they are amazing. They've got such amazing options from vegan, vegetarian, to regular beef proteins as well that are grass-fed, healthy for you. They've got more of that like tater tots, fries, mac and cheese options as well, and then they've got all of the good for you. They've got gluten-free.
And you have a new favorite there.
Oh, they're sweet potato fries.
Oh, yeah. I've had those. Those are great.
They're so good. One of my sisters is stuck on their beer cheese soup. And she takes some of their bread and dips it in it, and she says it's to die for. It's really
great.
good. Everything there is good. You cannot go wrong, just like Oddmo's. We've got two amazing sponsors.
We do.
Amazing food all the way around. Nothing you order on their menus are bad. So huge shout out to Dino from Venti's Restaurant.
Well, and one thing I want to bring up to listeners, we've talked about this a little bit earlier, that we've got two awesome sponsors who are independent from Kickin Cancer. They like our message. They like supporting our cause. We do record this show at KSLM because you guys are huge sponsors of us too. But Kickin Cancer is a 501c3 nonprofit. For those that understand the 501c world, each letter afterwards or each number afterwards refers to a classification of nonprofits. Okay, so if you have political aspirations, you're a 501c6.
Okay.
We are a 501c3. We
Yes.
have no political agenda. We have no religious agenda. And here's the biggest reason why. Cancer doesn't care.
It doesn't discriminate.
Not at all. And I've told this to many, many people that whether you liked him or not, Rush Limbaugh could be that very, very opinionated and very strong conservative voice. Didn't stop him from dying from lung cancer.
Yeah.
You know? And I loved Alex Trebek. I think he was a phenomenal host of Jeopardy. I really could not have ever guessed which political side he leaned to. Aside from dying from pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all of our supporters, KSLM, Oddmo's Pizza, Ventes, for what they do to help push our message out there. But we are a 501c3, and if you'd like to help us, you can just go to our website. It's kicking-cancer.org and make a donation so that we can keep getting these kind of messages out to more and more people.
Yeah. Education is powerful.
And speaking of education, that's why we're here today.
Yes.
Inflammation is the cause of most all diseases. I think Christina would agree with that. If you missed the first half of the show and listening on the radio, don't just go to podcasts. We have a podcast that you'll hear the exact same thing. I really encourage you to go to our YouTube channel because I mentioned the first half, this wound that I got about 30 years ago was a very unfortunate cut. And as it healed, it didn't. The nerves didn't heal correctly. And if I'd have been doing this back then, even earlier today, it was just a shooting pain because the nerves didn't heal right. But I just want you to see how well this has healed. I could not have done that. I'm for the listeners, I'm banging on the wall, but that used to cause just shooting pain through my whole arm.
Wow.
And that was just from 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like less than 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, less than 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling from yours?
Amazing. So the real test will be tomorrow, but it still is a slight pain always, just kind of a little constant pain. And I don't feel anything right now.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It went away completely.
Well, I thought for sake of demonstration, this was an annoying pain. And if you put pain on a scale of like 1 to 10, this was always just like always a 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And a good way to phrase that pain level is, think about a 1 being like this bee buzz around your head. It's just an annoying noise that's always there. 2's maybe a little worse than that. That's where this was all the time.
Yeah.
If I did a little squeeze on that finger, it hurt to some degree all the time. But I do have a pain that's a little higher level than that, and that maybe Christina can help with.
Okay.
All right.
When you are in your 50s and you decide that maybe you're going to want to take on something as daring as a Spartan race, and then you forget that you're not 25 or 30 anymore.
You could have fooled me.
Well, I did a Spartan race several years ago, Christina, and it's a trail run, and it has obstacles along the way. You have to conquer these obstacles as you go. But I was maybe a 1/10 of a mile into a 3-mile trail run, and as I turned on the trail, I stepped on a rock and rolled my ankle.
Oh.
And I just thought, well, I just rolled my ankle, to just kind of walk it off a little bit. You'll be fine. The very first obstacle I got to, they had dug a trench and there's some water. Only that cold water will help it. And I did finish the race that day. But the farther I got, the more painful it became. And so a couple of the obstacles required really heavy things to carry. One of them is that 80-pound sandbag that you're supposed to carry. And I'm like, the ankle's not going to support it. And so I didn't do those harder obstacles. But that was 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
2.5 years ago. And for the longest time, I just thought I'm never going to heal this ankle up. It's just never going to feel right ever again. I have started doing something that's working, but I thought maybe this one's a 7.
Okay. Oh, right now it's a 7?
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Okay.
I'm not happy
I
that
know, I know.
Thank you. I was just
You're
gonna
welcome.
ask
It's
where
a better
those went.
comparison
Yeah.
than the finger. But this left ankle, and for those that are listening, I've just taken my shoe off.
Because you have to treat at the skin.
The sock too, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I just took the shoe off and the sock off, and we're just going to do some laser on this ankle. But the outside of this ankle, because I rolled it out, and we've had Dr. Jason Holt in. He's a chiropractor. He's done some things to try to help it out. We've had Dr. Isaacson in. I've had people that are chiropractors that have tried to help it, but I have not been able to find relief for that ankle.
Are you comfortable there?
As comfortable as it's going to be.
I mean, do you want a stool on the other
No,
side?
we're all
Okay.
good. We're all
Okay.
good.
So here's my disclaimer.
Okay.
One treatment doesn't always, do the job.
Well,
but-
your disclaimer earlier about the finger, I believed your disclaimer, but it worked.
I know, but now
I'm not
like,
expecting a miracle with one treatment.
I mean, usually most people will notice either better flexibility. In fact, we should have probably checked that, or less pain, or both.
Or both.
But occasionally, they don't notice anything. I mean, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 treatments before they start feeling better.
Sure.
And then there's the 5% of the people that don't get any benefit. But 95% success rate is pretty darn good.
That's extremely well.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, when you were having yours done, man, you said you didn't have that warming sensation
Right.
on the finger. There is no warming sensation right now.
Okay, yeah.
Is that because there's more tissue?
Yeah, because when I was doing your finger, it was so, I couldn't move away from it very much. So
Okay.
you had laser on the finger almost the entire time on the same
Gotcha,
area.
gotcha.
Now you have this, 4-inch span. So it's diffused, really.
Okay. And we'll just warn the listeners, when you go to YouTube, you're just going to see my poor foot that's got no sock on it.
At least your toes look good, though.
Oh, good.
And I don't just...
Find the YouTube.
Oh yeah. Our producers remind me, if you want to find the YouTube, go to YouTube, put in Kickin Cancer Productions. Once you find it, hit subscribe. You're going to get the future episodes that come up. They always come out at 8 and 8:30 on Monday. So just watch for the episodes in a couple days.
And I love YouTube. We were just watching one of the episodes earlier today, and it's fun because it brings our show to life. It's not just in a studio, just chatting with microphones. No, we have actual expressions and reactions, and we care.
Yeah.
And to put a face to the name of our guests and where we're at.
Yeah.
And everything. It's so much more.
Well,
and so
and
it's a way better experience.
And the other thing our YouTube has done is, last week we mentioned that basketball game.
Yeah.
Well, then Ashley was able to get some footage of the basketball game, and so what we're talking about, you can actually see the basketball
the
game.
recap of it and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
because she was able to, yes.
So YouTube has been a wonderful addition for us.
Turn your... Okay, is it this side, too?
No, it's mostly the outside, but I'm just...
I'd like to get down into here a little bit more. There you go. Okay, are you okay?
Yep, we're just going to
Don't
roll
fall
a little,
off.
We're going to roll with here.
Just rolling,
yeah.
rolling.
Is there another part of your body that you want them to work on?
No, just my wrist.
Wrist was the worst of it?
I'm really excited. I truly want my dad to come in here. His knee, he's been he's always sided houses, and now he installs windows.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I love you, Dad, but I think you're like 55. I love you.
Oh, you can't...
My parents would be like, what?
I think he's somewhere in there, like 57 maybe.
Is she trying to imply that that's old?
I guess so.
Oh.
Well, he will kick my butt if he knew as I was disclosing his age.
Too late.
But to be fair, he's my absolute best friend, so I'm allowed to. Oh,
Okay.
sorry, Lucy. But he really struggles with his knee pain, really, really bad. I've taken him in to get shots, cortisone shots, and those work, and they did the job. But I would like for him to also try this.
Well, I
just
think
because it's not a medication going into your body.
So a lot of people don't know with the cortisol and steroid shots, over time when you rely on those, they actually do more damage.
Yes.
Yeah, they
yes.
deteriorate.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're just covering up what's really going on.
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
You're kind of putting a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
Where this, you say it kind of stimulates the regrowth of cells and all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I am really excited to recommend him to here.
Okay, so
Really
the other side over
excited.
there.
And he's somebody that hates going to the doctors,
Yeah.
but he'll do stuff like this because he's totally on that. I've got him on his health kick as well. I love
I
it.
love you, Dad.
Right?
So something really interesting just happened, Amanda. When she was doing the other side of my foot, she's doing way out on the ankle.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I could literally feel my foot have a little more flexibility.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
When you're doing that when you're doing the outside of the foot, I could feel that flexibility kicking in. It was really
That is
interesting.
so awesome.
Yeah.
And this can be it can even be like a minor pain or it can be a deep pain. Any pain, am I right?
Yeah, anything chronic or acute, new or old. I said that backwards, old or new. It could, it could be your finger was 30 years old.
Yeah.
I treat a lot of arthritis, which is very difficult to get relief from. I treat post-surgical patients. I treat people that have migraines.
Oh.
And any kind of orthopedic issue like disc problems, torn shoulders. Now, it helps with the inflammation, so it reduces the pain, but it does not fix the structure. So if you have a torn shoulder, it's still torn. If you want it to be fixed, you have to have surgery.
Right.
Right.
Like I have a pinky I have a trigger finger here. That's as far as I can go. And you can tell it's an arthritic joint. I don't know if the camera can see that, but I took the pain away, but I can't fix the trigger finger. So
Right.
it's limited in that way.
But at least, hey, if that's a win.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm fine without the pain. Let me see where we're
Yeah.
at. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
See how that
All right.
feels.
Well, that's a lot more movement without the pain than I had before.
Yeah.
You were a 7 before.
Yeah, I would say it's about a 3 now.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, I can feel it, but it's not a
Yes,
7.
that makes me so happy for you.
So if someone like yourself had some improvement, which is great, I would recommend anywhere between 3 and 6 treatments.
Sure.
A series of
It's not
treatments
going to
to
go
get
away
you
immediately,
better. Yeah,
but
right.
I can definitely feel a difference in 3 minutes.
I love that.
That one was actually about 5 minutes.
Okay.
About, yeah.
Yeah.
So it depends on the body part. Like a back might be 5 or 10.
So you had a chart here a minute ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is
Yeah.
this the body parts you can work on?
Those are just the common ones. So
Okay.
I can work on anything. There's some controversy about working on thyroids. There's some pro and con. So I don't work on thyroids generally. And fetuses I don't work on, or directly over cancer. You can work a distance away from cancer.
Okay.
But you don't want to, so it stimulates the cells to reproduce.
Okay.
You don't want that right over cancer.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense.
Other than those few things, you can laser anything. I laser a lot of folks' heads for all kinds of stuff.
Huh.
Migraines,
Yeah.
trigeminal neuralgia, TMJ, all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
It's good for depression.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, all the way down to your toes.
Yeah.
Plantar fasciitis and, yeah.
Well, I'm just impressed because how long ago did you do the Spartan race?
2.5 years ago.
So you've been walking around dealing with that pain for 2.5 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a long time to just deal with something like that.
Yeah, and I've got good chiropractors that have good methods, but they just weren't working.
Yeah.
Because they weren't dealing at a cellular level. I think that's the difference here is the
Correct.
cellular level.
Agreed.
You mentioned something a minute ago about the cancer patients. I think it's a good way to tie this all thing with Kickin cancer. It makes sense that you wouldn't want to stimulate the cell growth if it's a cancerous cell because you're actually making the cancerous cells grow more.
Right.
But how can you help someone that has cancer with this stuff?
So I wrote down a list of 12 things that are beneficial for cancer patients. I can kind of list them off for
Yeah,
you.
you bet.
Because they're in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Often. And so, one of the big things that helps reduce oral mucositis.
Okay.
So, which is the painful inflammation and ulceration in the mucous membrane in the mouth.
Okay.
So you can help heal those ulcers.
Okay.
You can actually help them go from not get into a worse stage. You can kind of stop them from getting worse if you laser them soon.
Okay.
It decreases inflammation markers in the mucosal tissue to calm irritated areas. It stimulates the ATP production. We talked about that, which speeds up tissue repair and regeneration. It stimulates a release of endorphins. So they don't have to take as many pain meds, or maybe sometimes any, because that's your natural pain fighting mechanism.
Right.
It improves circulation, so it brings oxygen and nutrients to the damaged tissue and removes waste products. So that helps
And that's,
clean the cells out.
That's really valuable right there.
Yes.
It prevents severe ulceration, which is what I was talking about when used early. It can prevent the mucositis from progressing to painful ulcerative stage.
So if somebody were to catch their cancer at like stage 1 or stage 2, stage 3 or stage 4, the risk level is a lot higher. The treatments are going to be a lot more brutal. But at stage 1 or stage 2, would this be beneficial in a lot of that in cases?
So it would be beneficial at any stage.
Any stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as, so the controversy or the careful, they don't want you to laser right on the cancer. And so some people say a few centimeters away, some people say up to 6 inches. I go 12 inches because I'm like trying to stay really far away. In that case, there's all kinds of, cancer patients have a lot of pain in their backs, all kinds of
Especially from
areas.
like chemotherapy, and it
Exactly.
drains them and makes them achy and everywhere.
Right.
From top to bottom.
Right.
So yes, I could see how that could benefit not going over the cancer, but everywhere else.
Yeah, no matter what
benefits.
stage they're in, whether it's radiation or chemo, it improves the wound healing as well. So it helps prevent scar tissue formation and makes the wounds heal faster, which is really important.
And I can see where many women that go through breast cancer could appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I had one on breast cancer here. So it also helps the lymph nodes, the swelling in the lymph nodes, which is really common for breast cancer.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful. It also promotes healing of burns, irritations, and lesions caused by radiation therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it helps rejuvenate the healthy skin cells faster. And then it enhances the circulation to oxygenate the damaged tissue.
So I know this is kind of maybe an odd question, but when you lose your hair from cancer treatments, let's say the cancer went away, could you do laser therapy on like to circulate the oxygen and regrowth?
It's a great question.
Okay.
And actually, laser therapy does help with hair growth.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to laser my head now.
It was found out because they were lasering animals and they realized that the fur was growing around the wounds faster in that area.
Yeah.
So that's how they discovered it. This particular laser is kind of a narrow beam, and it would be expensive. If you had like one spot area, that'd be one thing.
Sure.
But a lot of people come in, they want like their whole head.
Right.
So I try to discourage people from spending all that money.
Right.
You can buy helmets now. If you buy a more expensive one, maybe like $1,000 or more, that you put on your head and you have it at home, and you can do your whole head at the same time. And I think those are probably, if you get one that has a return policy, that would be probably a better way to spend your money than trying this laser.
Okay.
Because it would take so long. But
Right.
it does help. It does
Okay.
help with hair growth. It also helps people quit smoking, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, how does it help people stop smoking?
I haven't used it for that yet, but I think you target at the ear where they usually put the staples, and I don't know if the receptors are in there. I'm not sure exactly how that works.
But it's gonna reduce the desire to smoke.
My last bad habit: quit vaping.
I
Quit vaping.
I can learn how to do that, and you can also change the aperture of this beam and make it pinpoint and use it for acupuncture.
Okay.
So
Oh,
people that are
wow.
afraid of needles, that don't want
Yeah.
to be poked, they can use this. I haven't done that yet either. I mean, there's
Okay.
so many things to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, you got this machine here and the little wand, the one above our heads, what is this one for?
So if I put the wand in here, I got this for me because of my shoulders. So I put the laser
Oh.
in here, and then I wanted to do my shoulder, so I was able to just bend this and put it around my
this
back.
is for you to help yourself, basically.
Yeah, hands free.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is my little thing. But I use this for folks when they're laying down and
Yeah.
I'm doing their back, and I just bend it over and
Absolutely.
set it up, and then it stays there. And
Right.
yeah, it's easier.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Can you share some success stories with us?
Oh, sure. Well, yours. No. I had, I talked about the thumb, the
Yeah.
table saw.
Yeah.
I had a gal come in for migraines, and she had migraines her whole life, severe migraines every day. And she came in and had 2 treatments. I was doing a trial, so I was doing quite a few people with migraines. And a year and a half later, I checked in with her. She had not had one migraine.
Wow.
Since. That was pretty astounding. So that's not typical, but it does happen.
Right, yeah.
You know, enough times. Most of the time, it's like I see people for a week or two. I had one guy come in with his wife. I was treating his wife for some post-surgical stuff, and he's sitting over in the corner, and his back really hurt him. And I said, do you want to get treatment right now? He said, okay. So he lay down, and he could barely get down on the bed, and I lasered his back. And he got up and he thought, he didn't know what to say. He's like, oh, maybe it's a little better. I don't know. He was very, non-committed.
Man-like.
Yeah, yeah. And I said, well, come back with your wife the next 2 times and we'll do 2 more because you need a couple more.
Yeah.
So the next time she comes in for her surgery or for her treatment after surgery, he's not there. And I said, where's your husband? And she said, well, he's not going to come. He's fine.
He's fishing. He's out enjoying
fine.
life.
I said, what do you mean he's fine? I mean, he could barely get up off this table.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, he has no pain. So, to me, that's kind of amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a lot amazing.
Yeah, most of the time it's like an ankle. I have a friend that walks the river, a 3-mile thing every day, and he had a problem with his ankle for about 8 months, and he couldn't walk. And that can change your whole life.
Oh, yeah.
Your whole world.
And he's in his 80s, and it's a really good exercise for him. And I lasered him, I think, 2 or 3 times, and he's back to walking. He hasn't had any pain, and that's been about a year.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So people are going to basically pay for per session as how they utilize your service.
It's per session, and they get a discount when they get a series of sessions. I also just recently started a subscription for folks that have a lot of issues, so they can pay per month.
Okay.
And then do like 3 treatments a month for 3 months or 6 months, and that way they don't have to worry like if they hurt themselves. Can I afford to go in? They just come in.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're flexible on how you're trying to do sessions and whatnot.
I'm just whatever I can do to help people.
Right. Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
you use it to help yourself.
Yeah.
And then
Well, that's the important.
And that
thing.
has to be a
No,
huge
I'm just kidding.
testimonial to what you do because you believed in it that much to
Yeah.
where you invested it into yourself and now are giving it back to others.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty pricey machines. This little tiny little thing, these are about $50,000.
Yeah.
So
wow.
it's serious. This looks like a tiny nothing, but it has as much power as the huge machines in the offices. This particular portable unit. So it's the first one in the world that came out. K-Laser came out with this little portable thing, but
Wow.
I love it because I can take it. Now, sometimes people are older and they can't get out of their house, and I'll go to see them.
That was one question I was going to ask, but wasn't sure if it was
Yeah.
a silly question.
It's not as common, and I do charge for a travel fee.
Right.
But I can get to folks, and I'll go to businesses and set up and do, all the employees and stuff.
Yeah. Even like retirement homes,
Yeah.
like to go to a retirement home and have a few
Yeah.
people that you work with. Yeah.
If
That's
people
awesome.
are curious and want to get a hold of you, how would they?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. So the business is called Laser Therapy of Oregon, and so they can find me online, lasertherapyoforegon.com. My phone number is 541-990-0442. I'm on Facebook at Laser Therapy of Oregon also. What other ways?
Those are probably your main ways to get
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What's your most popular thing you treat? Would
I
you
think
say?
arthritis.
Arthritis. Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Because especially older women, they come in with little, kind of gnarly fingers, and they can't do their stuff anymore. And they come in for 1 or 2 treatments, and they're like, oh my God. Yeah, they're just so thrilled.
My
So
mom has stiff. A few of her hands are like really bad. They're stiff. Her fingers are stiff from
Yeah.
rheumatoid arthritis.
yeah.
Arthritis runs deep in my family. My grandma's hands, you could see it. And so it scares me. But now I'm not very scared anymore.
And there's not much you can do
Right.
for arthritis. I mean, medication, laser therapy for sure, but most people don't know about it.
Right.
But that's my favorite thing to treat, I think, because it's so dramatic. Like your little finger thing,
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that is really dramatic, I mean,
Seriously, I am amazed at how fast I work because if I had done this even an hour ago, I would have been in so much pain. It's just nerves all through my body. So.
Yeah.
so it helps with nerve sensitivity, which is really important for cancer patients.
Oh,
because
yeah.
they've got, nerve issues, neuropathy. Nerves normally take longer than any other orthopedic condition. That's pretty amazing that was that fast, but I try to manage that it's going to take more time.
Yeah.
Like maybe not 2 weeks, but maybe a month.
And I
right,
met
usually.
several people. I met one lady years ago that she had breast cancer, so she'd gone through the treatment, but it caused neuropathy on the bottom of her feet. And she didn't realize that she went to stand up one day and she didn't know she was actually standing because she couldn't feel it.
Yeah.
And she fell and broke her arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to be able to control the neuropathy is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Absolutely.
So, well, thank you so much for letting us come
Yes,
out and
thank
visit
you,
with you.
thank you. This was a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Give a little shout out here to
Yes.
Mr. Vente.
Normally you do a timeline item.
Yeah,
Skipping it?
No, well, I can give a quick timeline item. So it would have been August of 2022, and Kaiser Fest was just getting started.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, why don't I get a booth? So I paid, I don't know, whatever it cost to get a booth out there at Kaiser Fest with our pop-up tent, and brought some of our shirts out. New people brought shirts as they walked past the booth, but it had a chance to get a lot more of our information out there. And then we were part of the parade.
Yeah.
Which
That's
I'll tell
awesome.
more about the parade next week, because there was a really amazing event with one of our board members that involved the parade. But
Oh, I recall.
you remember.
I
yeah.
recall.
So
Okay,
anyway,
awesome.
Is
that
that
was,
like a teaser?
it's a teaser.
Yeah.
It's a teaser. Listen next week on
You'll
that
have to
one.
tune in next week.
Okay.
All right, you guys, a huge shout out to Venti's Restaurant for being our sponsor for the second half. Amazing food. If you guys have nothing going on tonight, go check it out. They also are quitting selling hard alcohol for health reasons.
Interesting.
Which I saw like a little thing when I went there for sweet potato fries recently, that they're going to stop selling that. But they do have an amazing beer vault downstairs that's really cool. So if you want to go check that out, do that as well and enjoy some dinner. All right, bye guys. We'll be back next week
As the movement continues.